The water world of Vellani had been peaceful for over 300 years. Deep beneath the blue oceans, crystal cities glowed with soft light. The Vellani people lived quiet lives, growing their food in underwater gardens and creating beautiful art from ocean pearls. Hana floated in the council chamber, her silver fins moving slowly in the warm water. As the council speaker, she had never faced anything like this before. The other council members gathered around her, their large eyes filled with fear. "The Kruvak ships are coming closer," said Elder Jisoo, his voice shaking through the water. "They destroyed the outer settlements yesterday. Thousands of our people are dead." Hana closed her eyes. The Kruvak Empire had been moving through this part of space for months, taking what they wanted from peaceful worlds. They were large, strong creatures with thick armor and powerful weapons. They took resources, slaves, and destroyed anything they could not use. "Send the distress signal to the Galactic Confederation," Hana ordered. "Ask for help. Ask for anyone who will listen." The message went out across space, carried by quantum transmitters to every civilized world. It was simple and desperate. The Vellani people need help. The Kruvak Empire is destroying our world. We are a peaceful people. We have no weapons to fight them. Please, someone help us. 3 days passed. The replies came back slowly. The Altarian Republic sent their thoughts and prayers. The Zephyrian Union offered to accept refugees after the war was over. The Crystalline Collective promised to remember the Vellani in their songs. No one offered to send ships. No one offered to fight. Captain Minho sat in his command chair aboard the human cruiser Bizen Morning. He was part of the 7th Colonial Fleet, patrolling the outer rim of human space. His ship was sleek and dark, built for war but hoping for peace. "Captain," called Commander Doyen from the communication station. "We're getting a distress signal. It's not from human space." Minho turned in his chair. The humans had only been in space for 200 years, much newer than most alien races. But they had learned quickly that space was dangerous. "Put it through." Hana's voice filled the bridge, translated by the ship's computer. Her words were calm, but Minho could hear the fear underneath. She spoke of crystal cities being smashed, of people who had never hurt anyone being killed or taken away. "How far away are they?" Minho asked. 17 light years, sir," Doyan replied. "The Vellani system, it's not in our territory." "I know." Minho stood up. He was a tall man with kind eyes, but his jaw was set hard. "Get me Admiral Juno at Earth Command, Priority Channel." The communication took several minutes to connect across the vast distance. When Admiral Junho's face appeared on the screen, he looked tired. Earth's military was spread thin, protecting human colonies across dozens of worlds. "What is it, Minho?" "Sir, we have a distress call from the Vellani system. Peaceful aquatic species being wiped out by the Kruvak Empire. They're asking for help." Junho was quiet for a moment. Behind him, Minho could see the busy command center, Earth's military headquarters. Officers moved between stations, coordinating fleets across human space. "The Vellani," Juno said slowly. "I know of them. Good people, never caused trouble for anyone." He paused. "What kind of help are they asking for?" "Just help, sir. They don't have military experience. They probably don't know what to ask for." "How many ships do they need?" Minho smiled slightly. This was why he respected his admiral. Junho didn't ask about politics or territory or what Earth would gain. He asked about ships. "They didn't ask for ships, sir. They asked for help." "Same thing." Junho's voice was firm. "Prep the 7th Fleet. All ships. Full battle configuration. Sir, that's 47 warships for one system. It's 47 ships to make sure this never happens again." Junho leaned forward. "Minho, When someone asks humans for help, we don't send what they asked for. We send what they need. The connection ended. Minho turned to his crew. You heard. The Admiral. Signal all ships in the 7th Fleet. We're going to the Valani system. Full military deployment. Lieutenant Kung Min at the tactical station looked up. Sir, we're going to war for people we've never met? We're going to war for people who need our help, Minho corrected. That's what humans do. Back on Valani, Hana received an unexpected message. It came from the humans, a species she had heard little about. They were from a world called Earth, which most aliens considered a death world, a planet so dangerous that only predators could have evolved there. The message was short. Valani Council Speaker Hana, this is Admiral Junho of the Human Colonial Fleet. We received your call for help. The 7th Fleet is coming to your aid. 47 warships, 15,000 personnel. Estimated arrival in 6 standard days. Hold on, help is coming. Hannah stared at the message in confusion. 47 warships? She had asked for help, not an invasion fleet. The other council members gathered around her, equally puzzled. Why are they sending so many ships? Asked Elder Minjong. We only asked for help. I don't know, Hannah replied. Maybe they misunderstood our message. Elder Jisoo swam closer. Should we tell them they don't need to send so many? It seems like too much. Hannah thought about it. The Krovak had over 100 ships in their fleet. Maybe the humans knew something about war that the Valani did not. No, she decided. Let them come. If they want to help, we should not tell them how to do it. Far above the ocean world, Krovak. Sensors detected the incoming human fleet. General Cathara studied the readings with interest. Humans were new to this part of space. He had heard they were aggressive, but so were many species. The Krovak had defeated them all. 47 ships, his tactical officer reported. Unknown class. They will arrive in 6 days. Good, Cathara growled. We will destroy the human fleet and take their ships as prizes. It will send a message to other species who think they can interfere with Krovak expansion. But General Cathara had never fought humans before. He did not know that Earth was a world where everything tried to kill you. He did not know that humans had spent millions of years learning to hunt things bigger and stronger than themselves. He was about to learn that when Deathworlders offer help, they don't just send ships. Send fleets. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Valani system like a pack of hunting wolves. 47 ships appeared in perfect formation, their dark hulls bristling with weapons that most aliens had never seen before. Captain. Minho stood on the bridge of the Bizen Morning, watching the tactical display. The Krovak fleet was larger than expected, over 100 ships surrounding the water world. They were ugly vessels, built for intimidation and destruction. Communications coming in from the planet's surface, reported Commander Do-Yun. It's the Valani Council Speaker. Hana's translated voice filled the bridge. Human ships, this is Hana of the Valani Council. We are grateful you came, but the Kruvash fleet is very large. Maybe you should wait for more ships? Minho smiled grimly. Tell Council Speaker Hana that we brought enough ships. Tell her to stay underwater and keep her people safe. This will be over soon. Colonel Ji-wan was ready on the marine transport. Soul Hammer. She had fought pirates, raiders, and hostile aliens across human space. But this was different. These Krovak were not just attacking human colonies. They were killing innocent people who had never hurt anyone. Listen up, Marines, she told her troops over the con system. The Krovak think they can murder peaceful people and steal their world. They think wrong. We're going to teach them. What happens when you threaten innocents around humans? Her Marines checked their weapons and armor. They were the products of a death world. trained by a species that had climbed to the top of the food chain by being smarter and more determined than anything that tried to eat them. The battle began when Captain Taeyan's destroyer, Soul's Vengeance, fired the first shot. The human ships moved like they were alive, darting between Kruvak vessels with impossible speed and precision. The aliens expected a normal space battle, ships trading shots at long range, trying to wear each other down. Instead, the humans did something no civilized species had ever tried. They got close. Human ships dove through Kruvak formations, their weapons targeting specific systems with surgical precision. A Kruvak battleship would find its engines destroyed, its weapons offline, its communications cut. Then human Marines would cut through the hull and take the ship from the inside. Colonel Ji-wan led the first boarding action personally. The Kruvak Marines were bigger and stronger than humans, with natural armor plates and claws that could tear through metal. But they had never fought anything like humans before. Humans fought like the predators they were. They used the ship's own structure against the defenders, moving through maintenance tunnels and using the artificial gravity as a weapon. When Kruvak warriors expected frontal attacks, humans came from above, below, and behind. Secure the bridge, Ji-wan ordered as her team moved through the Kruvak command ship. Take prisoners if they surrender. Eliminate any who resist. The Kruvak captain tried to destroy his own ship rather than let humans take it. Ji-wan stopped him with a precise shot that left him alive but unable to move. She had learned long ago that dead enemies could not answer questions about other threats. Dr. Soyoung worked with Hana in the underwater command center, studying Kruvak biology and tactics. The xenobiologist had volunteered for this mission because she specialized in hostile species. The Kruvak are pack hunters, she explained to the Vellani leader, but they only know how to hunt prey that runs away. They have never faced another pack of hunters. Are humans pack hunters too? Hana asked. Yes, but we're different. We don't just hunt for food or territory. We hunt to protect our pack. And for humans, the pack includes anyone who needs our help. On the surface, Captain Taeyan demonstrated human tactical thinking. When Kruvak ships tried to use captured Vellani as shields, he ordered precision strikes that saved every hostage while eliminating their captors. Target their weapon systems only, he told his gunners. Disable their engines. Do not hit the sections where they're holding prisoners. His crew worked with the calm efficiency of people who had practiced these scenarios thousands of times. Human military doctrine was built around one simple idea: protect innocents, eliminate threats, accept no casualties among the people you came to save. The Kruvak general watched his fleet being dismantled piece by piece. His ships were being captured, not destroyed. His crews were being taken prisoner, not killed. But the humans showed no mercy to anyone who hurt civilians. What are these creatures? He demanded of his tactical officer. They fight like demons, but they spare those who surrender. They're from a death world, General. Earth. The reports say it's a planet that tries to kill everything that lives on it. Impossible. No civilized species could evolve on such a world. But the tactical officer was studying the human attack patterns. General, I don't think they're civilized. Not the way we understand it. They have rules, but they're predator rules. Protect the pack. Hunt anything that threatens the pack. Never give up. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the Kruvak fleet was completely defeated. 67 ships captured, 38 destroyed, and 5 escaped to carry word of what had happened. The humans did not celebrate. They immediately began rescue operations, pulling Vellani prisoners from Kruvak ships and providing medical aid to anyone who needed it. Colonel Ji-wan found herself standing in a Kruvak prison hold, looking at hundreds of terrified Vellani civilians. Many were injured. All were afraid. You're safe now, she told them through her translator. "We're humans. We came to help. No one will hurt you anymore." An elderly Vellani approached her carefully. "Why did you come?" "We are not your people." Jiwan thought about how to explain it. "For humans, there are no strangers. Only neighbors we haven't met yet. When neighbors are in trouble, you help them." Back on the surface, Admiral Junho's ship had arrived with reinforcements. Not because they were needed for the battle, but because he wanted to send a message to any other species watching. He stood on the bridge of the Earth's shield, looking at the tactical display. The Vellani system was secure. The Kruvek threat was eliminated. The innocent people were safe. "Sir," reported his communications officer, "we're getting signals from all over the galaxy. Other species want to know what happened here." "Tell them the truth," Junho replied. The Vellani asked. "For help, we sent help. That's what humans do." Dr. Soyoung was working with human engineers to repair the damaged Vellani cities. She had discovered that human technology could integrate with Vellani systems, making their defenses stronger than ever. "We're not just going to fix what was broken," she explained to Hana. "We're going to make sure this never happens again." "You would do that for us? You asked for help. That means you're under human protection now. We don't do things halfway." Engineer Nahong was already working on new defensive systems, combining human weapons technology with Vellani engineering. The result would be something unique, a peaceful world with the ability to defend itself. But more importantly, the Vellani would never be alone again. The humans had not just won a battle. They had made a promise. And humans always kept their promises. General Kithara, captured and awaiting trial, asked to speak with the human commander. Admiral Junho agreed to meet with him. "Why did you send so many ships?" the Kruvak general demanded. "The Vellani are not your species. This is not your territory. Why do you care so much?" Junho looked at the alien warrior who had ordered the deaths of thousands of innocent people. "Because someone asked us for help. That's all we needed to know. But the cost, the resources, the risk to your own people. There is no cost too high to protect innocence. That's what makes us human." The general stared at him in confusion. "In Kruvak culture, you only fought for your own benefit. The idea of risking everything for strangers was impossible to understand. But across the galaxy, other species were beginning to understand something new. When humans offered help, they didn't send what you asked for. They sent what you needed to never be afraid again." The news of the Vellani victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The Kruvak Empire, which had terrorized peaceful worlds for decades, had been completely defeated by a species most aliens had never heard of in the Kruvak home system. War Marshal Vraken studied the battle reports with growing anger. The humans had not just won, they had humiliated the Kruvak military. 67 ships captured, their crews taken prisoner, but treated well. It was an insult to everything the Kruvak believed about war. "Bring me General Kithara," Vraken ordered. "Sir, the general is in human custody." They refused to release him. "Then bring me the survivors. I want to know everything about these humans and their way of fighting." The surviving Kruvak officers painted a picture that disturbed Vraken deeply. The humans fought with precision and overwhelming force, but they also showed mercy to those who surrendered. They protected civilians even at cost to themselves. Most disturbing of all, they seemed to actually care about people they had never met. "This is weakness," Vraken declared to his war council. "They waste resources protecting strangers. We can use this against them." He ordered the Kruvak Third Fleet to capture human civilians from the outer colonies. If the humans cared so much about innocence, they would learn what it cost to interfere with the Kruvak Empire. But Vraken made the same mistake that predators throughout Earth's history had made when facing humans. He thought compassion was weakness. He was about to learn that humans were most dangerous when they were protecting others. Lieutenant Hyun-woo received the distress call, while his special operations team was still in the Villani system helping with reconstruction. The message was brief and terrible. Kruvak forces had attacked the farming colony of New Jeju, taking 3,000 civilian hostages. Sir, his communications specialist reported, the Kruvak are broadcasting executions. They're killing 10 hostages every hour until we withdraw from Villani space. Hyun-woo felt something cold settle in his chest. He had been born on New Jeju, though his family had moved to Earth when he was young. Some of those hostages might be people he knew as a child. "Get me Admiral Juno," he said quietly. When the connection was established, Hyun-woo could see that the Admiral already knew. Junho's face was carved from stone, his eyes holding a fury that most aliens would never understand. "How many ships do you need?" Junho asked without preamble. "For a rescue mission? Maybe 2 fast ships in my team." "You're not going on a rescue mission, Lieutenant. You're going to show the galaxy what happens when someone threatens human civilians. Take whatever you need." Hyun-woo smiled, but it was not a pleasant expression. "Actually, sir, I think my team can handle this alone. Sometimes you need a scalpel, not a hammer." Admiral Juno understood. There were times when humanity's response needed to be surgical, precise, and absolutely terrifying to anyone watching. Engineer Nayaung had been studying captured Kruvak technology since the Villani battle. Now she worked frantically to turn that knowledge into weapons specifically designed to counter Kruvak biology. "Their armor is strong against energy weapons," she explained to the special operations team, "but it has a weakness. They use a crystalline matrix that resonates at a specific frequency. I've modified your weapons to exploit that." She handed Hyun-woo a new rifle that looked different from standard human weapons. "This will go through their armor like it's made of paper. But remember, the goal is to save the hostages, not to kill every Kruvak in sight." "Understood," Hyun-woo replied. "Though if they've hurt the civilians, that might change." Dr. Soyoung was monitoring Kruvak communications from the Villani system. What she heard made her blood run cold. The Kruvak were not just executing hostages for psychological effect. They were broadcasting it across their entire empire, showing other species what happened when they asked humans for help. "They're trying to turn our compassion into a weapon against us," she reported to Captain Mino. "They think if they hurt enough innocent people, we'll stop helping others." Minho's laugh was harsh. "They really don't understand humans at all." "Do they? What do you mean?" "On Earth, we have an old saying, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. The Kruvak just guaranteed that we'll never do nothing again." The rescue mission began with Lieutenant Hyun-woo's team infiltrating the Kruvak command ship orbiting New Jeju. They moved through the ship like ghosts, using maintenance tunnels and service corridors that the Kruvak had never considered security. Risks. When they reached the detention areas, they found conditions worse than they had expected. The Kruvak were not just holding hostages. They were torturing them for the broadcasts, trying to break human morale by showing civilians in pain. That was their second mistake. Hyun-woo's team moved with the cold efficiency of apex predators. They disabled guards silently, freed hostages quickly, and began turning the Kruvak ship's own systems against its crew. "Control room secure," reported Specialist Jinwoo over the comm. "I'm in their computer systems, downloading everything and preparing to broadcast on their own networks." "Hostages secured," added Medic Sujin. "We have wounded, but they're stable, ready for extraction." But Hyun-woo had a different plan. "Negative on extraction. We're not leaving yet. Jinwoo, patch me into their communication system." "I want to." "Talk to every Kruvak ship in the system." When his image appeared on Kruvak screens across the fleet, the aliens saw something that would haunt their nightmares for years to come. A human soldier, calm and professional, standing in their own command center while their hostages walked free behind him. "This is Lieutenant Hyun-woo of the Human Colonial Forces," he said in perfect Kruvok language, which he had learned during the infiltration. "You wanted to send a message about what happens when people ask humans for help. Let me send you a message about what happens when you threaten human civilians." Behind him, Specialist Jin-woo was broadcasting the rescue live across Kruvok networks. Every ship, every colony, every military base in the Kruvok Empire watched as their invincible warriors were systematically defeated by a handful of humans. Engineer Naeong's weapons worked perfectly. The modified human rifles went through Kruvok armor as if it didn't exist. But more importantly, the humans demonstrated something that Kruvok had never seen: precision violence. They didn't kill everyone. They disabled weapons, destroyed ship systems, and captured key personnel. But anyone who had directly harmed civilians died quickly and efficiently. "The hostages are safe," Hyun-woo continued his broadcast. "Your command structure in this system is eliminated. Your ships are disabled. But here's the important part. This was just one small team. Imagine what happens when you make the entire human military angry." Back in the Kruvok home system, War Marshal Vraken watched the broadcast with growing horror. The humans had turned his psychological warfare tactic into a demonstration of their own capabilities. "How many humans were involved in this rescue?" he demanded. 12, sir. One small special operations team. 12 humans defeated an entire fleet and rescued 3,000 hostages? Yes, sir. Vraken began to understand that he had made a terrible miscalculation. The humans were not weak because they protected others. They were strong because protecting others gave them purpose, focus, and determination that no selfish species could match. Dr. Min-jae, the fleet psychologist, was studying the psychological profiles of captured Kruvok officers. What she found explained a lot about their strategic failures. "They're individually strong and aggressive," she reported to Admiral Juno, "but they have no concept of collective action beyond dominance hierarchies. They can't understand why we would risk ourselves for people we don't know. That's their weakness," Jun-ho realized. "They fight for conquest and personal gain. We fight for each other. When the stakes are protecting innocence, we become something they can't comprehend." The aftermath of the new Jeju rescue changed everything. The Kruvok had intended to show the galaxy that helping others was dangerous. Instead, they had demonstrated that humans became more dangerous when others were threatened. Species across the galaxy watched the recordings and came to a startling conclusion. The humans didn't just have advanced technology or superior tactics. They had something more powerful, a willingness to risk everything for strangers. Captain Minho received reports from human intelligence networks across the galaxy. Everywhere the rescue broadcast had been seen, local populations were rising up against Kruvok occupation forces. The sight of humans keeping their promise to protect the innocent had inspired others to fight for their freedom. "It's spreading," he reported to Admiral Juno. 17 systems have declared independence from the Kruvok Empire. They're asking for human protection. How many ships do they need? Jun-ho asked automatically. "Sir, at this rate, we're going to need the entire colonial fleet." Jun-ho smiled grimly. "Then we'll expand the fleet. When people ask for help, we don't tell them we're too busy." Lieutenant Hyun-woo and his team returned to Valani space as heroes, but they didn't feel like celebrating. They had saved 3,000 lives and struck a blow against tyranny, but the war was far from over. "What's next?" asked Specialist Jin-woo. Hyun-woo looked at the tactical displays showing Kruvok movements across the galaxy. The enemy was regrouping. The Kruvok Empire was dying, and everyone in the galaxy could see it happening. What had started as a simple rescue mission in the Malash Villani system had become something much larger. Human fleets appeared wherever Kruvak forces threatened peaceful worlds. They didn't just drive off the attackers. They hunted down every ship that had participated in raids against civilians. Captain Seojin commanded the human task force Righteous Anger, made up of 15 ships dedicated to tracking down Kruvak war criminals. Her orders were simple: find every Kruvak commander who had ordered attacks on civilians and bring them to justice. "Sir, we've located the Kruvak 12th Raider Squadron," reported her tactical officer. "They're 3 systems away, attacking the Mindari trade stations." "How many civilian casualties?" Seojin asked, already knowing she wouldn't like the answer. "Estimated 2,000 dead, 8,000 captured for slave labor." Seojin felt the familiar cold anger settle in her chest. The Mindari were peaceful traders who had never harmed anyone. They built beautiful space stations and welcomed all species to trade freely. "Set course for the Mindari system. Signal the other ships in our task force. We're going hunting." The hunt took 2 days. When the human ships arrived, the Kruvak raiders were still looting the trade stations, completely unaware that their empire was collapsing around them. The battle was swift and brutal. The Kruvak raiders had been chosen for their cruelty, not their combat skills. Against disciplined human naval forces, they lasted less than an hour. But Captain Seojin's mission was not just to win battles. It was to send a message that would echo across the galaxy for generations. There was no hiding from human justice. "Attention Kruvak vessels," she broadcast on all frequencies. "This is Captain Seojin of the human colonial fleet. You have committed crimes against innocent people. Surrender now, and you will be treated according to galactic law. Continue to resist, and you will be eliminated." Most of the raiders chose to fight. They died quickly. The few who surrendered found that human justice was harsh but fair. War criminals faced trial for their actions. Ordinary soldiers who had not harmed civilians were treated as prisoners of war and eventually released. But everyone understood the message. Humans remembered what you did to innocents, and they would find you no matter where you ran. Sergeant Major Dongho led the ground assault on Kruvak Prison Colony 7, where thousands of slaves from dozens of species had been worked to death in mining operations. His Marines moved through the facility like avenging angels, freeing prisoners and documenting evidence of war crimes. "Sir," reported Corporal Bomi, "we found the records. Over 50,000 civilians have died in this facility alone. Worked to death, executed for disobedience, or killed for entertainment." Dongho looked at the skeletal figures of the surviving prisoners, people from worlds he had never heard of, species he had never met, all united by suffering at Kruvak hands. "Get medical teams down here immediately," he ordered. "I want every survivor stabilized and prepared for transport to proper medical facilities. And I want every piece of evidence documented. The galaxy needs to see what the Kruvak Empire really was." The liberation of the prison colonies had an unexpected effect. Species that had been enemies for centuries put aside their differences. When they saw their people suffering together under Kruvak cruelty, the humans had not just broken an empire, they had created the possibility of a new kind of galactic community. Dr. Minji studied the psychological effects of the human military, campaigned from her position aboard Admiral Junho's flagship. What she found was remarkable. "Admiral," she reported during their daily briefing, "the Kruvak military is suffering complete morale collapse. Their entire worldview is based on strength dominating weakness. But we've shown them that protecting the weak makes you stronger, not weaker." "Explain," Junho requested. "They can't understand why we fight so hard for people we don't know. In Kruvak culture, you only risk yourself for immediate family or direct superiors. The idea that we would cross the galaxy to help strangers is literally incomprehensible to them. And that's why they're losing." "Exactly. They're fighting for conquest and personal gain. We're fighting for principles. When the cause is just, humans become unstoppable. The Galactic Confederation watched the systematic destruction of the Kruvok Empire with a mixture of awe and concern. Humans had appeared from nowhere and dismantled a military force that had terrorized the galaxy for decades. Ambassador Corrin of the Altarian Republic requested a meeting with Admiral Junho. The discussion took place aboard the human flagship, in a conference room that had been designed to accommodate multiple alien species. Admiral Junho, Corrin began carefully, the Confederation is grateful for your intervention against the Kruvok Empire. But we must ask, what are human intentions? In this region of space, Junho smiled politely. Our intentions are simple, Ambassador. We came to help the Velani people. That mission has expanded because we discovered the scope of Kruvok crimes against peaceful species. But surely you understand our concern. Your military capabilities far exceed anything we previously knew existed. What assurance can you give that humanity will not become the next imperial power? The question hung in the air for a moment. Junho looked around the table at the alien diplomats, seeing the fear in their eyes. They had lived under the threat of Kruvok expansion for so long that they couldn't imagine a powerful species that didn't want to conquer others. Ambassador, Junho said finally, let me ask you something. In all your intelligence reports about human actions in this campaign, have we claimed any territory? Have we demanded tribute or submission? Have we installed human governors on liberated worlds? Corrin thought about it. No, you have not. Have we done anything except protect innocent people and bring war criminals to justice? No. Then you have your answer. Humans don't want to rule the galaxy, Ambassador. We just want to make it safe for everyone to live in peace. Captain Minho was overseeing the reconstruction of the Velani system when he received an urgent message from Earth Command. The Kruvok home system had fallen, and War Marshal Vraken had been captured alive. Sir, reported Commander Doyun, Admiral Junho wants to know if you'd like to participate in the interrogation. You were the first human to respond to the Velani distress call. Minho considered it. He had no desire to gloat over a defeated enemy, but he was curious about one thing. Tell the Admiral I'll attend. I want to ask Vraken something. The interrogation took place via secure communication link. War Marshal Vraken sat in a detention cell, his natural armor dulled and scarred from the final battle for the Kruvok homeworld. He looked like what he was, a broken leader of a shattered empire. War Marshal Vraken, Minho began, I want to understand something. You had built a successful empire. You controlled dozens of star systems. You had massive fleets and millions of soldiers. Why did you attack peaceful species who posed no threat to you? Vraken looked at the human captain with tired eyes. Because we could. Because they were weak and we were strong. Because taking what you want is the natural order of the universe. And how did that work out for you? You destroyed everything we built in less than a year. Your species appeared from nowhere and dismantled our empire like it was made of paper. Vraken paused. I still don't understand how you did it. It's simple, Minho replied. You fought for conquest. We fought for protection. You fought alone. We fought for each other. When people know you'll risk everything to keep them safe, they'll follow you anywhere. But the cost, the resources, the danger to your own people, that's what you still don't understand. There is no cost too high to protect innocence. That's not weakness. That's the source of our strength. Vraken stared at him in confusion. Even in defeat, he couldn't comprehend the human concept of selfless protection. Engineer Neong was working with teams from dozens of species to rebuild the worlds damaged by Kruvok raids. The project had become something beautiful, a demonstration of what the galaxy could accomplish when different species worked together instead of fighting each other. The Vellani underwater construction techniques work perfectly with Altarian crystal growth technology, she reported to the Reconstruction Council. And the Zephyrian energy systems integrate seamlessly with human defensive networks. Hannah, who had become the unofficial coordinator for the reconstruction efforts, marveled at what they were accomplishing together. Before the humans came, most of our species barely spoke to each other. Now we're building something new together. That's what humans do, replied Dr. Soyoung, who had become Hannah's close friend during the reconstruction. We don't just solve problems. We bring people together to solve problems. Lieutenant Hyun Woo and his special operations team had one final mission: hunting down the Kruvok officers who had escaped the fall of their empire. Intelligence reports indicated that several war criminals had fled to the Galactic Rim, hoping to rebuild their forces in the lawless frontier regions. Sir, reported Specialist Jinwoo, we've tracked the last group to an abandoned mining system in the Outer Rim. 5 ships, maybe 200 personnel, including 3 wanted war criminals. Any civilians in the area? Negative, sir. Just some automated mining platforms. Hyunwoo nodded. Then we finish this. Signal the fleet. 6 months after the fall of the Kruvok Empire, the galaxy was a different place. The oppressive fleets that had terrorized peaceful worlds were gone, replaced by something no one had expected: voluntary cooperation between species that had been enemies for generations. Hannah floated in the new council chamber deep beneath Vellani's oceans. The room was larger now, built to accommodate representatives from dozens of species. Through the transparent walls, she could see human construction. Ships working alongside Vellani engineers to build the new orbital defense platforms. The security grid is nearly complete, reported Admiral Kyun, who commanded the human rapid response fleet stationed in the Vellani system. Any hostile ships that enter this system will face coordinated resistance from 5 different species. And if they ignore the warnings? Asked Ambassador Talon of the Mindari Trade Union. Then they'll face the same fate as the Kruvok, Admiral Kyun replied calmly. Humans don't make empty threats. The other delegates nodded approvingly. In the months since the human intervention, they had all learned that when humans made a promise, they kept it. Ambassador Sunmi stood at the podium, representing Earth in the newly formed Galactic Protection Alliance. She was a small woman with kind eyes, but everyone in the room knew she had the full backing of the human military behind her words. The sanctuary protocols are now in effect, she announced. Any species threatened with extinction or enslavement can invoke human protection. The response will be immediate and overwhelming. Representative Korvex of the Zephyrian Union raised a concern. Ambassador Sunmi, while we appreciate human protection, many species worry about the extent of your responses. The Kruvok Empire was completely destroyed. Some fear that human justice is too harsh. Sunmi considered the question carefully. Representative Korvex, let me tell you about human justice. We offered the Kruvok multiple opportunities to surrender, to stop their attacks on civilians, to choose a different path. They refused every offer. They chose to broadcast the torture of innocent people as psychological warfare. She paused, looking around the room at delegates from species that had suffered under Kruvok rule. Human justice is simple. Protect innocence. Give enemies every chance to surrender, and eliminate any threat that refuses to stop harming peaceful people. If that seems harsh, consider the alternative. The room was quiet. Everyone remembered what the galaxy had been like under the constant threat of Kruvok expansion. That Captain Mino had been promoted to Admiral and now commanded the 3rd Defense Fleet, responsible for protecting the core worlds of the Galactic Protection Alliance. His flagship, the New Bizane, was a symbol of the new era, a ship designed for protection rather than conquest. Sir, reported Commander Goyan, now serving as his first officer, We're receiving a distress call from the Therian system. Unknown raiders are attacking their agricultural colonies. Minho smiled slightly. This was the part of his job he enjoyed most. Same drill as always, Commander. How many ships do they need? They didn't specify, sir. They just asked for help. Then, we give them what they need. Signal the fleet. All ships, battle stations. Estimated time to Therian system? 4 hours at maximum warp, sir. Too long. Signal Admiral Keun's Rapid Response Force. They're closer. We'll follow as backup. This was how the new galaxy worked. Distress calls were answered immediately, not after lengthy debates in committee. Help arrived in the form of overwhelming force applied with surgical precision. And everyone understood that attacking peaceful people would bring swift and decisive retaliation. Dr. Minje had established the Galactic Psychological Research Institute, studying how the human intervention had changed the mindset of species. Across the galaxy, her findings were remarkable. Before the humans arrived, she explained to a gathering of xenopsychologists, most species accepted that the strong would dominate the weak. Pirates, raiders, and aggressive empires were seen as natural disasters, terrible but inevitable. And now? Asked Dr. Velix of the Altarian Republic. Now they understand that aggression against innocents will be met with overwhelming retaliation. Pirates have virtually disappeared from the major shipping lanes. Raider groups are disbanding, rather than risk human attention. And oppressive governments are implementing reforms to avoid being seen as threats to their own people. The psychological shift went deeper than just fear of human military power. For the first time in galactic history, most species believed that peace was not just possible, but sustainable. Lieutenant Colonel Hyunwoo, promoted after his successful operations against Kruvok war criminals, now led the Galactic Justice Task Force. His mission was to hunt down any remaining war criminals and ensure that the lessons of the Kruvok War were not forgotten. Sir, reported Major Jinwoo, we've received intelligence about a group of former Kruvok officers attempting to restart slave operations in the Outer Rim. How many ships? 3 small raiders, maybe 50 personnel total. Overkill parameters. Authorized, Hyunwoo decided. Take 2 full squadrons. I want this to be visible to anyone watching. The message needs to be clear. There is no statute of limitations on crimes against innocents. The operation was swift and decisive. The former Kruvok officers surrendered without a fight when they saw human warships approaching. Word spread quickly through the criminal underworld. Humans would track you to the edge of the galaxy if you hurt innocent people. Engineer Naeong had become the director of the Interspecies Technology Sharing Initiative, helping different species combine their technologies for mutual benefit. The results were transforming the galaxy. The Vellani underwater construction techniques have revolutionized habitat design, she reported to the Alliance Technical Council. Combined with human materials science and Altarian crystal growing, we can build cities that are more beautiful and durable than anything previously imagined. What about defensive applications? Asked General Kyoto of the Zephyrian Defense Force. Even better. The new integrated defense platforms can protect entire star systems with minimal crew requirements. And because the technology is shared among Alliance members, no single species has to bear the full cost of protection. This was perhaps the most important change the humans had brought to the galaxy. The idea that different species could work together as equals, sharing their strengths to protect everyone. Captain Seo Jin commanded the justice-delivered flagship of the War Crimes Tribunal fleet. Her ships traveled across the galaxy, ensuring that those responsible for atrocities faced proper legal proceedings. The last of the Kruvok war criminals has been sentenced, she reported to Admiral Juno during their monthly briefing. All major perpetrators have been tried and convicted. Justice has been served. And the reaction from other species? Mixed, but generally positive. Some worry that human justice is too thorough, but most appreciate that we follow proper legal procedures. We don't just execute enemies, we prove their guilt and give them fair trials. This distinction was crucial. Humans had shown that overwhelming military power could be combined with strict adherence to the rule of law. They were not conquerors, but protectors, not executioners, but judges. The Galactic Council met in its new headquarters on the neutral world of Harmony Station, a facility built jointly by 12 different species as a symbol of their new cooperation. The architecture blended the best features of all participating civilizations. Chancellor Morvik of the Crystalline Collective called the session to order. We gather today to discuss the first annual report on the Sanctuary Protocols. Ambassador Sunmi, would you present the summary? Sunmi stood and activated the holographic display. In the past year, 47 worlds have invoked human protection under the Sanctuary Protocols. All requests were answered within 24 hours. Total civilian casualties during these interventions, 0. The statistics were impressive, but they told only part of the story. The real change was in what hadn't happened, the raids, invasions, and acts of genocide that had been prevented simply because potential aggressors knew that humans would respond. How sustainable is this level of commitment? Asked Representative Corvex. Humanity cannot patrol the entire galaxy forever. We don't need to, Sunmi replied. The point was never to be galactic police. The point was to demonstrate that aggression against innocence has consequences. Most potential threats have learned this lesson. Admiral Junho, now the Supreme Commander of Human Colonial Forces, addressed the concern more directly. The galaxy is learning to police itself. When species know that help will come if they ask for it, they're more willing to defend each other. The Alliance Defense Forces now include ships from 18 different species. Dr. Soyoung had established the Institute for Peaceful Coexistence, studying how different species could live and work together without conflict. Her research had become the foundation for alliance policy. The key insight, she explained to a gathering of diplomats, is that diversity is strength, not weakness. When species share their unique capabilities, everyone benefits. The Valani build underwater cities, the Altarians grow crystals, the Mindari facilitate trade, and humans provide security. Together, we're stronger than any of us could be alone. And what about species that refuse to join the alliance? Asked Ambassador Trell of the Independent Worlds Coalition.